please rise up and clap.
I'll do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, take it away, give us a presentation, and then I'll
Great.
take a vote.
Let me know when I'm at 5 minutes, so I can like wrap it up.
Cool beans, you got it.
Hi everyone, my name is Fredo. I am a teacher of mathematics and history. Recently graduated with a master's degree from UCSC. And I say that because I'm a part of the Fredo schools. Back when I was 18 years old, I was not doing very well mentally, emotionally, growing up in South Central. It was hard to live in Hollywood. If it wasn't for trouble, I wouldn't come here, right? So Freedom School really changed my life, my mind, my heart, and my outlook to society. Because of its deep roots in history, it started back in the 60s. At that time, in the 60s in Mississippi, it was a very dark time for America. I mean, it's a very dark time for America now. And Freedom Schools is very necessary because we were kind of reliving the symptoms of what happened in the 60s, right? Back in the 60s, we had children who were held by white and black college students through the Student Non-Violent Coordinating Committee. A bunch of black students led white students to go desegregate the South. It ended with white students being murdered for betraying their race, according to the racists in the South. But nevertheless, with the help of the Student Non-Violent Committee, the Freedom Schools are free of charge. And Freedom Schools today compel us to reimagine education. Because the reality is that we have two Los Angeles. You know, we have different experiences in the city, and it is up to us to come together and bring the city together. These are some of the texts that I got from the scholars I teach in South Central LA, where the scholars are learning. They took a scholar to jail last night for robbery. At the time the robbery happened, we was at the park at the summer night lights at night, then in the house in their mom. Today, this morning, a scholar texted me, I'm not coming today. They had raided my mom's house and had all of us in handcuffs. Right, and it's like, in one part of the city, this is what's going on. In a different part of the city, it's a whole different perspective. So how do we solve for that in Freedom Schools? Well, we build bridges, right? We may have different opinions about the police, but the matter of fact is that we have to expose our young children with them so they know how to interact with them in case of any interaction, because it happens. We provide youth jobs from every neighborhood. We've had kids actually from Hollywood come to South Central LA to our Freedom Schools. We do it through a core mission of believing in yourself, your family, your community, and your ability to make a difference, right? We have a, next slide. We have, this is recently our youth job workshop where we got a bunch of youths to partner up with the youth source centers to get hired through the LA City youth job programs, right? So that's how we provide economic access. Next slide, please. We also provide intention, right? We provide field trips that are meaningful because a kid is less likely to vandalize or create trouble in the neighborhood they know. If someone would have brought me to Hollywood, to the amazing sites we have in Hollywood, believe me, I would have never brought trouble to Hollywood. So, but these kids, a lot of them have never gone to UCLA, have never gone to Hollywood, have never gone to Venice. Why? Because we're trapped in this concrete desert. How does this matter to the Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council? Well, the kids wanted to explore careers in cinema, careers in film, and where is it better to explore it than where it starts, where people live, where people who are probably in this room work in the industry. So we want to plan a field trip to the Hollywood Museum, where they have exhibits. They tell us they have authentic showbiz treasures, costumes, props, photographs, scripts. So we want to expose the children to these careers. Perhaps if some of you want to come into the field trip and be our chaperones, be our guests. We need to come as a city, right, to care for all children, because children travel with those trains. Kids are everywhere. Specifically when they don't have access to after-school programs, when they don't have access to summer programs, when they don't have access to families, right? We become the village that care for these kids. So here's some fast facts of the impact of Freedom Schools. It's not just, thank you, I have 2 minutes. I told him it would be no more than 7. Fast facts is The core of the program is a literacy program. Our gentleman, board member, just talked about how some of our LA schools are the worst performing schools in the state of California. What Freedom Schools does, it exposes kids, children, scholars to about 30 titles. You know, we trick them into reading. Yes, you're going to the museum, but you're gonna read that pamphlet, right? Next slide, please. We are requesting an MPG, but we're also asking for you all to help us bring pressure to the Economic and Workforce Development Department, because the kids have been out of school since June 12th. However, the department hasn't gotten its funding. Y'all got your funding July 1st, but we're still pushing the department to process our kids' applications. The youth centers have not received their funding. Someone talked about the city hall's on recess right now. When we were planning a trip to city hall, but then we changed it to the downtown public library because there was no city council meetings. How are we going to advocate if folks are in recess? So right now, neighborhood councils are our only voice. So I can work with you all later on to agendize a resolution just to put pressure, put a council file to call them like, hey, fund these jobs. Next, contribute to our GoFundMe if you can, but more importantly, strategize with us year round. Become part of our Freedom Schools coordinating committee to bring this program to every neighborhood in Los Angeles that needs it, because it's not just South Central LA, right? It's pockets in Hollywood, it's pockets in Venice, it's pockets everywhere in the city of LA. And last but not least, be our real address, right? You all have amazing careers, and part of the mission of Freedom Schools is exposing the children that everyone reads, whether you're a janitor, whether you're a school board member, whether you're a manager at McDonald's. Reading is important to better your life. With that said, I just want to thank you, board members, and thank you, public, for your time.
Let's make a motion to support the project as written.
Second.
Thanks, Sunshine. Okay, now we'll go, Shani.
I just have a question. Around the Economic and Workforce Development Department, have all the summer jobs not been funded? Or-
At least not our kids. We had at least 25 kids that applied at the beginning of July. And today we got an email from executive in the department with an interesting tone telling us before contacting the manager, you have to follow 5 steps, right? And to me, it's like, well, we're teaching kids civic duty, and if they want to contact the general manager, they have the right to. So I'm still formulating how I'm going to respond to that email. I'm probably not, I'll probably just let the neighborhood councils do the magic, because you all have a section in city charter that literally say you can subpoena, for lack of a better word, these officials who come here and answer your questions. Like, y'all were doing an amazing job earlier. I was just inspired, and I was like, you know what? Let me end this presentation and call for a resolution, because y'all will get them. We don't have to. We have people like you all that care, and have the platforms and language that these kids are still learning. So come teach the kids about what to do.
Yeah, Charles, over to you.
I really like the program that you're doing here. The field trip to the Hollywood Museum, I think, is good. I remember when I was really young, I took a field trip to LAX, and those things really have an impact on really young kids. So I'd say thanks for the work that you're doing. There's also a program this Sunday, and maybe you already got this, but it's at the LA Public Library, Martin Forum, LA Public Library. It's the African American Film Critics Association with SAG-AFTRA, with the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. They're doing a panel discussion featuring African American actors.
I'm going to get that from you.
So I'm just thinking, all this together. There's also one other organization that I heard about that puts together victims of crime.
Yes, audit.in.la@gmail.com.
Crimes. And this was talked about on 60 Minutes last night. Really good program. But anyway, all this together is, I think, very inspiring. So thanks for the work you're doing.
First off, I want to tell you, I've been here like a little bit less than a year now, like 10, 11 months. You are the #1 presentations that I have seen. #1. So I want to give you, first off, I want to give my hats off to you, first of all, as an individual for completing your education, doing all this kind of stuff, and now going back and giving back to the kids in your community. That's like #1 way to contribute to society in my eyes. So. Second off, I do have a question. Where are the kids coming from that you guys are working with? Where are they living? And all that stuff?
They primarily in the housing projects, but all over South Central LA. You know, right now, the kids are telling me, Fredo, let's go campus, to get more kids, but I'm like, bro, you have not gotten you're not getting paid yet, right? Right now, we're training, and I'm like, the Freedom School spirit is we do it anyway, but I'm like, we're training, and they're writing emails to the city, so they can fund their jobs, because it's kind of, a lot of these kids already are given false hopes a lot of times, so I don't want to give them false hopes and get a bunch of enrollment, and then they don't get paid. I know they're gonna get paid to the city, but it just feels terrible to have a kid coming every week and telling me, Fredo, when are we gonna get paid? Is the city gonna pay us? Fredo, my brother got arrested yesterday. When is he gonna get paid? But now he can't get paid because he's in jail. So right now it's primarily South Central LA. Eventually, we want to start canvassing. Usually what we do is when we go to field trips, we canvass and we tell people, part of Freedom Schools is action. It's not just, what we read doesn't stay in the classroom, right? For example, a lesson we had recently, we read a book called Say Their Names, a children's book. And one of the activity was to email the ACLU, to email Public Council, to email Stop LAPD Spying Coalition, to come and do Know Your Rights trainings for the kids in the projects. Because that's ground zero for a lot of, someone talked about surveillance.
Yes.
And whatever your thoughts are about public safety, we can all agree that children should not be handcuffed.
Yes.
I was wondering if you've heard of the Hollywood Police Activities League. The concept is that officers play soccer, basketball, karate, and with youth. I've seen in Hollywood, but I think I come from all over. Just wondering if you know about this group, because I like the picture that you showed with the officers, doing arts and crafts and such, but there's also sports and sportsmanship with the officers. And if you don't know about them, I'd be happy to make an intro, so maybe if there's openings on the team.
I would appreciate that. I think any bridge we can cross and meet with the police is kids who've been traumatized. And the uniform carries for a lot of these children a stigma. But we're teaching children, whatever it is we can do to build that gap. We historically have worked with they call it the CSP Community Safety Partnership. That is being expanded to the city of LA. It's a bunch of police officers that go specifically into that unit to work with the community. So I'm assuming that those officers are also having that heart. It's different than an officer who joins SWAT and an officer who joins the CSP. So we want to build that bridge. So if you can make that connection, introduction, facilitation, we'd love that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I want to just touch on my privilege as a white girl to always feel comfortable with the police, and I recognize my privilege on that, and that not everybody has that, and so yeah, anything that we can do to kind of put that bridge together, like you said.
Thank you, President.
I was just gonna say really quickly, I love everything about your program and what you're doing to give back to the community. It's incredible. I work on several committees with SAG-AFTRA, and they're always looking for volunteer opportunities, so I'd love to be able to connect you with them as well, especially educating children that need exposure to the industry and just to kind of learn what it's about. I also discovered, I was hoping he would be here, but there was another kid that was here learning about committees and things like that. There is a youth committee that they're looking for people on their board. Their next meeting is July 25th, so I can also email you that information as well in case you guys are interested in connecting with them.
I appreciate that. Do y'all each have independent business cards, or how should I go about it?
I can send you an email because I have it from the presentation, and I can just give you everybody's email on the board, but it's also on CHNC.org actually.
I'll look at it.
Yeah.
I just know that you all have probably 3 different emails.
Yeah,
Which do you check the most?
Yeah, exactly. And yes,
So the children that are being served are not necessarily children coming from Hollywood, but
They're coming to Hollywood.
they're coming to Hollywood, and that's why we want to support.
the FPG, right? This is a class trip basically.
Right,
to
yeah.
Hollywood.
So the FPG asks for 800 for the stipends. We want to provide these kids with notebooks, food for the day, basic needs basically. That takes to fund a field trip, and also 200 for either ride share or a van, so that we can get here. We talked about the train. A lot of the kids have been assaulted in the train because of gang affiliations. I've seen kids get assaulted in the train. So they were like, nah, we'd rather not go to the field trip. But I'm like, we're not about to let that, stop that. So if y'all have any vans y'all know that serve children, please hit me up. Anyone in the audience, let me know.
How old are the children?
They're all the way from K to 24. young adults, from children to 24. Thank you all so much for your
What about
time.
Ciclovia volunteering too, right?
Yeah, I'll talk to you after the presentation.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a motion, we're just gonna go to, yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, we're just gonna go to public comment and then we'll go online if there's anybody. Okay, 2 minutes?
Yes, I am really impressed with your presentation. I love what you're doing. And I feel my heart aches when you're talking about a child that, or a young person that could not come because they were in one place, but then they got arrested, somewhere else. And I can relate to that in a sense, because right now I'm part of a group that is protesting certain abuses of Scientology. And I'm not alone, and there's been numerous swattings and numerous false arrests, numerous unfair arrests just because they can, just to teach a lesson. So I'm learning a lot about how policing works and how frightening it must be for your students. And also, I can understand the Metro too. Doesn't seem like there's a real severe, there's not a lot of police presence, and when there is, it seems to be going against, I don't know, it's just not where it needs to be. So I applaud you. But since I am here, I do speak on different, Scientology abuses. I am just hoping that to God that if any of their front groups tries to come to you to try to present L. Ron Hubbard ways of teaching, like through applied scholastics, please run. I'm just asking you, like the front groups, they are very predatory in nature. I mean, just coming here, 3 different people coming for NPGs discussed how they did experience predatory behaviors from Scientology, and I never met them before, but so 3 out of how many, a small handful of NPG requesters, 3 of them have been, had to deal with the predatory behavior. So I'm just saying, trying to inform you to keep your eyes open, but God bless you for what you're doing, and your kids are really blessed to have you, and I'm excited to hear what your group's going to be doing. And I wish I had a van. I'd come pick you up, all of you up myself, if I had it. I would love to. Like, seriously, I would.
So good job. Like, really, from the very beginning, I was thoroughly impressed. Like, I really appreciate that. Like, and I mean it. To see someone, messengers matter, and where messages come from matters almost more than the message. So it was totally like just pulling on my heartstrings to see you able to get in that space, and then to learn that you were a teacher. So kudos to you, and good job. Keep up that good work. I like how you're able to kind of stand both in a professional world, but you're very relatable. How about that? And good job. Like that is such a it's a learned behavior, and you've clearly mastered it. So kudos you.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments? Then we're gonna vote moving on, right?
I think there's online people or someone.
Again from earlier though.
No, there is someone online that wants to speak.
Hello, would you like to speak on this NPG?
I would. Thank you very much for letting me speak.
Apologies.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I did have a question about the program. The Fredo program sounds absolutely wonderful, and thank you for such a wonderful presentation. I really appreciate it. But do you have any coordination with 504 plans or IDEA?
504 plans or what?
IDEA, the Individual Education Act plans,
Yeah, so.
special education plans.
Yeah, so part of our program is a 5-to-1 ratio. So part of what we do, we have a lot of kids with different abilities, right? And what I do is, first we have the application, and we ask parents, are there any things we should know about your child? And we put those options, IEP plans, 504 plans, and then myself as an educator, I talk to our elder in need, who has a lot of experience in teaching, and we come up with individual plans with the parents to address the specific needs of the scholars, whether it's they need breaks, whether they need bigger fonts, whatever it may be in those conversations is what we do. So yes, we do provide those individualized education plans, IEPs for scholars that we learn about them in K through 12, like regular school, in Freedom Schools, you know, we teach the whole child, so we don't like to differentiate, but we do provide that extra support for scholars who need that extra support. Thank you for that question. I think that question is like asking now, you know, what are you doing for differently able students?
Thank you, I give you 100% support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So two other hands, and so we're gonna vote on this, and
Great job,
I'll say one thing. I'll say that the whole reason I'm actually here today is because of Fredo, and he was an inspiration to me to join the neighborhood city council system in general, because I remember he ran for president when he was like 18, and
Thank you,
thanks
doesn't
for
matter.
showing up today, and I'm
Thank you,
glad
guys.
that I'm here.
Yes, Mona, it's
because
amazing.
of you. So thanks for
I am
that.
because you are.
Well, I am because you are, no, because I am because you are.
Any other comments? Let's vote. We're gonna go one at a time.
Yes.
Duh.
That's a yes. I vote yes. Daniel? Tamara?
Yes.
And then I?
Yes.
Just for the record. Okay, thank you, so.
Thank you all for your support. I appreciate you. Now follow up with the treasurer.
Yeah, that's nice.
Congratulations.
Can I give you a hug?
Yes, you can. I'd love to keep, when you're amazing. What are you talking about? Do you have a card or anything, like, or how I can keep track?
I'll give you my number.
Okay, can you write it? 'Cause
I got
okay.
you, I got you.
And everyone just loved you. Like, everyone in my chat is just like, you're amazing. No, I love it.